My name is Herman Kelly. I'm president of the Irish Freedom Party, and yesterday, European Parliament in Brussels, I met two people who have since been arrested. One is Billboard Chris. Chris has travelled for years all across, I think he's been in 11 different countries, with a billboard with a very simple message: have their body destroyed by puberty blockers. Children are too young to give consent to life-changing treatments such as puberty blockers. And another person, Lois McClatchy Miller, she works for a free speech union, a group of lawyers called ADF. And they came and met an MEP that I work for, Anders Vistisen, in the European Parliament. And they also gave a speech to a number of MEPs and staff. And I met them outside the European Parliament as well. And do you know what? Some of the things that Billboard Chris, he stands up for the rights of children and women and their private spaces. He basically told me that there's a group of left-wing lawyers association in America called, I believe, the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union. It's kind of started up over 100 years ago, mainly to defend left-wing people in the States. And basically, their left-wing agenda, there was a case recently in Tennessee where they basically put forward a case for people, young people, and for parents who wanted their young children to be to transition and to be able to take puberty blockers. Now, puberty blockers lead to lifelong sterility if given to a child of the wrong sex. So they're extremely dangerous and life-changing, and their impact is permanent. But this same association, this ACLU, just a few years earlier, they were campaigning that pedophiles, people in prison for sexual offences, even against children, should not be made to be chemically castrated. But the chemicals that we're talking about, or the hormones that we're talking about, are the same. So isn't it incredible that this left-wing pro-trans organisation is campaigning that pedophiles not be given the same drugs as they're given to children who have never done anybody any harm. But anyway, today, well, he told me yesterday, Billboard Chris and Lois McClatchy Miller, that actually Brussels was probably one of the worst cities that I've ever been to for having conversations in public about gender ideology. And you had a very aggressive left-wing people coming up to try to scare them off the street, intimidate them with threats of violence, and actually with violence. But today, as they were speaking to people peacefully in a public square in Brussels, they were surrounded by many, many police who eventually arrested them for the simple practice of airing their opinions that trans ideology or mutilation of children, pumping children full of puberty blockers, which is damaging to them, is a very bad idea. And they were just peacefully airing their opinions, having conversations peacefully with people in a public square, and the Belgian police came along and arrested them. Isn't that absolutely appalling? And when we look around and we see all across Europe the introduction of speeches of laws at the behest of the European Union to curb free speech. Hate speech is free speech that government hates. The EU is becoming a graveyard of free speech. And when we see in broad daylight, peacefully having conversations in a public square leads to your arrest by the police in Belgium. And if Belgium and Brussels is the way that Europe is heading, we're in very, very bad direction. So my name is Herman Kelly. I'm president of the Irish Freedom Party. You can be sure that the Irish Freedom Party will always stand up for free speech. We will always stand up for parental rights in education. We will stand up to protect the bodily integrity of children from those who want to fill their heads with this dangerous trans ideology, who want to mutilate their bodies or pump their veins full of hormones and puberty blockers, which is all very dangerous. We will stand up to protect children, and we will stand up to protect women's spaces and women's sports. That's myself, Herman Kelly of the Irish Freedom Party, Cora Magazine.
Hey everyone, this is Billboard Chris here. How's it going? I'm with my good friend Lois McClatchy Miller from ADF International, and we have quite a scene unfolding in Brussels, Belgium. We have been getting incredibly harassed for about the last hour. We've remained perfectly calm as always, having conversations about what is the greatest child abuse scandal in modern medicine history. We called the police because a man was harassing and following Lois everywhere she went, trying to stop us from filming. The police have now arrived, and they've told me I have to put, and Lois, they've told us we have to put our signs away. I have refused. He said I was violating the law. I said, what law? He can't name it. But we have the right of freedom of expression throughout Europe. I know my rights. I've been meeting with members of the European Parliament all week, representing about 9 different countries. And we're now being told we're going to get arrested. So I said, that's fine, go ahead. They haven't done it yet, so perhaps I've called their bluff. And we now have lawyers on the way, thanks to Lois's amazing contacts at ADF. But we'll see what happens. So if you don't hear from me a while, I'm in jail in Belgium.
At least they got chocolate.
Lois, any comments?
Well, it's really interesting talking to these police, because when I kind of explain the case, and they say, well, you shouldn't be, having these conversations, and I told the guy, but what about if we were talking about climate change or Gaza or anything like this? And he was like, there could be, anyone can have these conversations anywhere, right?
Well, there could be 1,000 of us laying down in the street protesting for Gaza, and they wouldn't do a thing about it.
And he said it's difficult to have it when there's so many people. And I said, yeah, I know, it was difficult, but that doesn't make it illegal or wrong. In fact, when people are so, there was really a mob around us, and if it's something, that's when it's more important to speak the truth than ever, right? If it's a mob mentality and these people are dangerous and threatening, then if you give up on speaking the truth then you never ever will.
Right.
It's too important. It's too important to give up.
Right. So I will have some video up later. It's incredible. I don't have time to upload it right now. But keep having conversations, everybody, because one conversation at a time we are putting a stop to this child abuse. I want to thank all these very confused people for creating this scene, because if I was just having peaceful conversations, I might only reach a few 100,000 people through my social media, but they're creating a massive news story. We're now going to reach millions. So as usual, I use all their attempts at censorship against them and make the story even bigger. All right, wish us luck. If you don't hear from me, we're in jail.